Apparently, I'm dark right now. I don't understand what's going on. There we go.
That's perfect.
Hey, Lord, they shine some light on me, right?
Shine a light on me.
Shine a light on me.
You ready? 1:30. Might as well do something.
No, I'm good.
Instead of touching my pee-pee hole.
I used to touch it all the time, but every now and then it kind of
spit at you.
It spit at me. I was like, whoa.
All right, here we go.
Are you just trying to navigate adulthood in a world that still expects you to have it all figured out? Welcome to This Is 50 with your hosts, Travis Holmes and Shane McManus.
And filling in for Shane today is Matt Cochran. How are you, Matt?
Hey, good, Shane.
No, Travis.
See what you did to
You
me?
already blew it. You blew it.
All right, so let's start it over again.
All right. You want to start over? I'll start it over.
Sorry. You said that, and that was the last thing in my mind.
All right.
Go.
I'll try it again. Here we go. And filling in for Shane today is Matt Cochran. How are you?
Travis, what's up? I am awesome.
Got it right this time. We missed you last week. We missed you a couple weeks ago and stuff. I know we've been off the air and stuff, but I've had a lot going on. You've had a lot going on, and so we missed you last week. What's been going on? You all right? Doing all right? No. Health is okay? You're not dying on me, are you? Already? Losing another host.
Well, if I'm a lion, I'm a dying. Yeah. I tell you, no, we're doing all right, man. We're just living alive here in East Tennessee, and it's been a little bit of a challenge later, this week and stuff.
Why challenge? Like how? Like,
oh my goodness!
Getting up in the morning. I mean,
do what now?
Getting up in the morning, is that the challenge?
Oh my goodness, that's my challenge every morning. It's getting up, and. You especially realize your age when you get up in the morning, you go outside and you want to sit on the porch and you start aching and you look at the temperature and it's like below freezing or something and everything starts hurting.
I know. I went to the refrigerator to grab a beer for the show here. And it's sad that when I grab the beer out of the freezer, I grab it and I go, it feels warmer than the air outside. I'm like, is my freezer broke? I don't know. So.
Well, I tell you what, if you wanted to do it like we used to do back in the mountains, you could just take your milk, your beer, and cheese and everything else that's in your refrigerator, put it outside in the snow.
Oh yeah. We went to Yellowstone National Park a few years back, and we rented a little tiny house, and it was kind of cool. But they had a huge snowstorm before we got there. So you know how when snow melts, like everything that's in the shade doesn't melt. So we had this big berm of snow on the side of our tiny house. So as soon as we got out of the car, I'm shoving beers in the snow. And the funny part was there was another tiny house probably about, 50 feet away from us. And they showed up the next day and saw all the beer sticking in the ice. And they go, that's my kind of guy right there. So they were great people. We hung out with them and stuff. Great friends. Yeah. They came from Arizona to Yellowstone, and we came from Charlotte up to Yellowstone. So it was great. They were great people.
Yeah. Was it Airbnb? I'm sure you got 5 stars after that.
No. It was just a tiny house. This is
PBR. Was it PBR?
No, what, PBR in the snow?
No, your beer was at PBR.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. No, I think I took a PBR in the yard, but no, it was it was middle of the night at the time. So normally, Matt, you are normally you're in school right now. Why are you blessed? Why are you blessed us with your presence on This Is 50 this week?
So it's almost like a COVID lockdown. Snow around here, it has locked down the schools. We were out for the MLK Day on Monday, then it snowed. On Tuesday, they said no snow. Then on Wednesday, no school. No, and then Wednesday, no school. Then Thursday, no school. And then Friday, no school. I'm like, hey.
See a pattern there.
Whatever happened. But yeah, we've been in snow lockdown. It's like you can't get out anywhere here. When it snows in the south, we got a good 8-9 inches of snow, and then it iced over, and then we try to get out. But yeah, we've been in snow lockdown for since Monday evening.
See, here's the thing that I have a problem with. When you say snow lockdown, is I know you as far as everyone else out there has heard the story from someone in your family saying, and we went to school in the snow. We traveled up and down the hills both ways, that type deal. These kids now, when you have a snow day locked in, they're not going to have those stories. So those stories are slowly going to, by generation, are going to fade away. Oh, I remember the snow of January 2024. We had to stay in the house and didn't go to school. We went to Dollar General to get our food and stuff, but we didn't go to school. God forbid, God forbid. And it's that type of mentality where you're just like going, come on, I know my grandparents went up and down the snow hills to get to school. Those stories are going to be lost now because of, suing. Everyone will say, no, you shouldn't have had the kids out. You shouldn't have done this. And just a bunch of crap.
If there's a small fender bender. So before the snowpocalypse that happened here, the public schools, I work for a private school, they canceled school on a Friday because there was a high wind warning. So, it makes no sense. Yeah, high wind warning.
It's sad.
Okay.
It's sad where you go, okay, it's too windy out. I don't want the little kiddies to, freeze or anything like that. Get from the car to inside you don't have heat inside the building. Get from the car to inside the building and then be done with it. You don't have to worry about it. Oh no, little Tommy, little Jimmy doesn't want to get his little knickers in frozen weather. Don't
get your knicker in the woods.
It's crap. Well, we appreciate you joining us here on This Is 50.
But it's awesome, man. But I guarantee you, and I've learned this over the years, ever since I've been alive for like 25, 35. I'm only 35. So over my 30.
You don't qualify for the show then there, Matt.
Yeah. But no, so I've learned this. So if you can get out and do whatever, whether it be walking or driving, a convenience store owner will be open somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
Near you. And most of those, I don't want to get into the convenience store owners, but you can guarantee that, buy a dozen eggs for $25 or whatever you need, but it's there if you need it. But yeah, snow lockdowns suck.
So are you locked down at your place right there? Is the snow that bad?
Well, right now it's let up, right? So we ended up with about 8-9 inches of snow, and then it got down to 2 degrees and below zero, and so everything iced over, and then it was just this whole conglomerate of all this Al Gore stuff coming in at once. I think he was in town or something, all this cold stuff. But right now we're not. Luckily, I have a 4-wheel drive that I keep. It's 20 years old, but the sucker runs like a champ.
Sure.
And so I was able to get out. And so I cranked that up the other morning. And one of my neighbors came running out, about 2 days ago, and says, "Hey, you headed to the store? Let me give you some money to get some cigarettes." I said, "Well, just get in. Let's go."
Pile in there, Jethro. Let's go. Hit the road.
Yeah, he didn't have a tooth in his head, but it was fun. We got out and did that. But technically, am I locked down? Or the back roads where I live at now, they're clear as a bell. And but I claim, I have to identify as snow lockdown right now. So our bosses keep school closed, and I get another couple of days off.
Well, great, good. Well, thanks for we appreciate you joining us. I just got back from New York. We went to New York, Long Island, New York. You can see my shirt here if you're watching this on the YouTube video. This is my shirt that I got from Long Island. Came with a hat, matching hat type deal. I'm always looking for a discount. So this is what I got. And we met a whole bunch of her mom and dad's side of the family, and I'll dive into speaking of kids and school and stuff, I'll dive into some of those stories when we get back. So stick around, we'll be right back.
I hear somebody out there trying to chip ice off of their car right now.
Is that what that is?
Yeah, that tunk. I hope that's what that is.
I've got downstairs I've got a little sign, or one of these like the on-air sign. I don't know if you can see the on-air sign. Clear sign out there. It says recording, shut up. So yeah. That's down in the garage. So if anyone comes into the garage, they're like, "Oh shit, he's recording."
Yeah, I need to do something like that. If he keeps going, I'm going to have to go outside and tell him to stop.
He's fine. He's fine. He's not bothering us. You ready?
Okay. Yep, I'm good.
So, Matt, I just got.
No.
Is he still chipping away at that ice out there?
Yeah, now I heard the
maybe he slipped
shovel.
and fell. Hold on, let's see.
Hold on.
Yeah, quiet. Let's see here.
Can you move to the next part? I'm recording a show.
I don't care. Shh, let's see. Hold on, right here. There you go. You sure he's not burying someone out there?
Well, that would be another episode.
Right.
He's doing that.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, don't forget, guys. Matt Cochran does a podcast called Murder and Coffee, and this episode, he's going to end up murdering his neighbor. So make sure you check him out over at on all your podcatchers out there. Murder and Coffee with Matt Cochran. So Matt, we got back from New York. We went up up to Long Island, New York. And the reason why we went was switch screens here. Let's try this. There we go. The reason why we went was because we're not tethered to the house anymore. We had an old dog that passed away, and we wanted to make sure that, if we were going to go somewhere, we could bring the dog with us, or the dog would have to pass, and, then we were free. So dog passed a couple days after Thanksgiving, and we're like, all right, so now we can go out and, feel free to roam the country. So my birthday was January 6th. I don't know why they decided to storm the Capitol on my birthday, but they did. Thank you very much for doing that. So that'll go down in infamy. And so I said to my wife, let's go to New York. Let's see your family. I love their family up there because they are literally Long Island people. That whole, hey, Copernicus, what are you doing? But they're intelligent for the most part. And her mom passed away when she was 16, 17 years old. And her dad just recently passed. I say recently, 5 years ago. We figured this out while we're sitting at the table. But it's one of those places where you go to see family. And you sit around the dining room table and you catch up on stories. And did you hear this? And did you hear that? One thing that... So this is a very touchy subject. And I'm diving into this. And I just want to bounce this off of you. So, bear with me while I do this. Okay. So the subject was that her dad's brother, my wife's uncle, has two sons. They just recently they've been married for a while. They've been married for almost 10 years. They have a son that's in third grade. They have another son. One has a son that's almost in third grade, and the other one's in pre-K. The other son has a daughter that's going into third grade, and the other one's in pre-K. So the two children, two boys, two girls, are almost the same age. The two girls, the two girls, smart as a tack. I mean, just as, a whip, with the stuff that comes out of their mouth. Where did you hear that? How did you know to do that? What are these conversations? The boys are autistic, both of them. Well, what they think is autistic, they don't communicate very well. They're not really sociable, that type of stuff. And it's weird because both of the, they all came from uncle, this guy, the uncle, who had two sons, and then the son had two girls, and the other son had two boys, and the boys are autistic. And why weren't the girls autistic? If you're following the lineage there. So as we're sitting around the table and they're talking about family members and stuff, and they would talk about like third string branches of the tree and saying, well, that person, do you remember Shelly? Shelly was a little, she was slow. She was retarded. She's 30 now. Oh my God, she's 30 now? Oh yeah. And then they would talk about another side of the family members, and they would say, oh, and Derek, not Derek, sorry, I don't mean to say that. Toby has a learning disability and he can't walk straight. And I'm like, all right. And so at least 5 other kids they were talking about had some kind of mental problems, physical problems, or combination thereof. And I'm sitting there and as we're driving back to the airport, and I say to my wife, I said, why is everyone in your family not messed up, but there's something. Well,
oh, you were treading lightly.
Yes, I was. Yeah. She's like, well, some of those are not our family members. They're just people that lived in the neighborhood. I said, yes, but I remember your uncle driving us around, and it was very, very common if you live in New York or the northern states, where families would, they'd buy a house, and then someone would grow up and get old enough and buy the house next door to the house they grew up in, and then so on and so forth. They would all live on the same street.
Yeah, I watched Everybody Loves Raymond.
Right, exactly. So it's almost that same effect, where the family members and friends and family members all grew up in that same, 2 mile square radius. And I was like going, babe, how many people do you know in my family? Now, granted, my family's a little different than them. I said, we don't have anything as far as disabilities in our family. I said, every time we sat down at someone's house and talk about family members, they brought up someone in the family or friend of the family that had a disability. And I'm like going, there's a thing. What was it? What's the woman who was talking about the water stuff? Erin Brockovich. Where they brought that up. I go, there's got to be something in Long Island that it's creating these mutant kids, for the lack of a better term. But I mean, and they would say it, little Timmy's, he's retarded, and the other one, he's missing a foot, he's got a club foot, and this and that and that and this. And I'm sitting there going, God, that's a lot of issues throughout your family tree or friends of family trees. How come? Does this not send up a red flag?
Well, so you guys were on Long Island? Is that what you were saying? So does it have anything to do with the Long Island medium? Did she bring up some old people? And
Long Island medium? What do you mean, like a psychic?
Oh, Travis, do not tell me you have never heard of the Long Island medium.
No, I have not. Tell me about it.
Oh, she's got teased up hair. She's from Long Island. She has all the accents and everything. She lives there. She had a famous show for like 10 years. She's still there.
That's not my. That's her family, not mine. I don't know.
No. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. I'm interrupting you. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say is like, shoot. My family is like that too. So there's folks there that I don't even know that show up. Are they kin to us? Or are they this? Because we have none of these afflictions, whatever you want to call them, within our family. So
yeah, but I guess what I'm saying is it in the water in that area? That's where I was kind of leading with the thing with, hey, all these people that that are either, related to your family or friends thereof of your family, is there something in the water where it's causing, 1 out of 5 stories that we talked about, there is some kind of child that has a disability in the family or in their family, I should say.
Do they get the water out of the East River and like try to recycle it?
I have no idea where it's the melted snow that runs off the highways. I guess I don't know, but it was like kind of. I'm like, do you not see? Like I said, the red flags at every conversation. Oh, how's little Tommy doing with his club foot or drop foot or whatever it is? Oh, he's doing good. He's doing good. And then there's we go to someone's house and here's little Jenny and here's little Montrose, whatever his name is. I forget the kid's name. And they're good. Yeah. They're, white Anglo-Saxon, Hitler's dream, blue eyes, blonde hair. They're doing well. But these other derivatives of the family members were just, I don't know. It's just a weird thing.
So how does your family take it whenever you mention all this stuff?
How does my family take it? I don't talk to my family.
Well, I'm sorry. Her family.
My job, because this
is you just internalizing everything?
I am just internalizing it. My job is to sit there and observe. And then when we get back in the car and we go back to the house and stuff, I'm like going, okay, so who was this and how are they related? And so I'm trying to put these puzzle pieces. Like I said, I was telling her, I'm trying to do the 23andMe family tree in my head. Okay, this is where, this is her uncle. and his wife, which is her aunt, and the two brothers, and the two brothers had two kids, and the two kids had, and then this family member's an aunt, and then it was just a weird family tree. And I was just trying to put, and by the time, as we're driving to the airport, we were up there for 5 days. I'm driving back to the airport. I'm like going, did you not see any of this? And she kept going, well, that's half of them are our family. I'm like, yeah, but they're in the area. There's something wrong with it. Anyway, so one thing that I couldn't get used to was a lot of her family members, maybe this is the problem, they drink tea, like tea, hot tea.
Okay. That's what I was going to ask, because I've always heard they don't understand what sweet tea is.
Yeah, like Southern tea, like iced tea or anything like that.
Sweet Southern tea, yeah.
But you would
which
think,
is basically syrup. Right?
My dad drinks it all the time. But you would think that, and my dad's from North Carolina, so, but you would think that coffee would be the main drink. And it's weird because now, granted, the men in the house drink coffee. The women in the house drink tea. And I don't know, when I see tea, for example, you were talking about the sweet tea. Sweet tea, the color of sweet tea almost looks like a breakfast blend roast of coffee, as far as the color. You know what I mean? The tannin,
light, sugary.
Yeah, the tannins are there. When they drink tea, it's almost translucent, and it barely has like a small golden color or a small greenish tint to it. And I'm sitting there going, how does that look? How does that tasty? That looks like it has absolutely no flavor at all. Are you a tea drinker or a coffee drinker?
No, I'm definitely a coffee drinker. It's totally black, no cream, no sugar. I can drink coffee. Look, I grew up working in radio, so I would go in the mornings and do the morning shows. You go to the convenience store to get a cup of coffee, and it's been sitting there for like 12 hours, right?
It's like a mud.
Anything beyond that, I'm good with. So,
well,
but no, I can't stand cream or sugar in my coffee.
But what about the missus? Does she drink coffee, or is she a tea person?
No, she's a coffee person, and she does half and half versus cream, because there's no sugar in half and half. And then she doesn't add sugar, but she drinks flavored coffees.
Oh yeah, my wife gets the it's called pod nuts, which is a weird name in itself, but it's supposed to be, part of our Whole30 diet. And I'll jump in that here in just one sec. There's no sweeteners, no artificial this, no artificial that. It's non-dairy. It's made out of like avocado oil and some palm. I don't know what it is, but she puts that in her coffee, and I guess it's supposed to taste good like that. Speaking of going to New York and my diet and stuff, Matt, I know you probably can't see it on the camera. I can. I put on going up to New York. I ate pizza, donuts from a bakery, like a real bakery, donuts, bagels, so out to eat for every single meal, homemade cookies, homemade cakes, all this stuff. And this stems off of, Thanksgiving and Christmas and my birthday at the same time. I put back on 17 pounds since November 1st, and I am fucking feeling it. Yeah, 17 pounds, and it's got to be a record in 2 months, I guess.
So it's like carb heaven up there. It's like everything is bread and more bread.
Yeah.
Throw some tomato sauce on it, and that makes it healthy kind of thing. I mean, it's delicious. I have to be honest with you. I am a Italian junkie foodie, or whatever you want to call it. But oh my God,
yeah.
Yes.
So I went grocery shopping today, and everything I bought was chicken, breasts, legs, thighs, whatever you want, and then sprouts, Brussels sprouts. That's it. That's all I bought. So I'm gonna have that for the next 3 months and get back on this kick. But holy Jesus, man, I can fucking feel it. I can fucking feel it.
I love those mini Brussels sprouts. It's like little cabbages or whatever.
Yeah.
You from Germany is like, what the hell? So they don't eat the big things. We give them the little things. I love Brussels sprouts.
They look like a Little Shop of Horrors. Audrey too. They look like the plant.
And they're really good if you dip them in that sugar-free syrup and then you bake them. And
Fuck that. Oh, no. I got to take a break. We'll be right back.
all right.
You ready?
Yeah, it's about time for an old man's nap.
Oh, God. Well, let's finish this, and you can take as long as nap as you want.
No, I'm good to go.
All right.
Yeah, I took some of those little blue pills, and I'm good to go.
Blue pills? What kind of blue pills?
No, you know the big V.
Before the show? Trev, I got a real hard on for you under the table here.
You're looking pretty good, boy.
Oh,
Let me
Jesus.
just tell you. Oh, yeah.
All right, here we go. Yeah. So we went to New York. I told you that. And let me explain a couple things about my wife. Because we went up there to see her family. My wife is very much a alpha female. Her job requires her to have a certain mentality where she deals with men and women of all different races and all different levels of maturity.
Mm-hmm.
She has worked her way up, and I say worked her way up through the ranks. She has done very well at her job, and she has been promoted several times throughout her career. She has been offered other jobs or higher up, and she's like, no, I like exactly where I'm at. I don't want any more, responsibilities or anything like that. I do very well from what I'm doing. If I have more responsibilities, that's going to take away from my personal life at home. So she's doing the life and the balance, home and work, which is great. I say, babe, but I will support you no matter what. And the biggest thing that's keeping her from moving up is she rides horses, and she's training to go into like competitions and stuff. And I'm like going, all right, so that's kind of a hobby. I mean, you'll make a little bit here, but anyway, so I digress. Just to give you an idea of the characteristic of my wife. When we flew Spirit Airlines, and when we landed in Charlotte, before we took off, we parked the car in long-term parking. And I said, do you want me to take a picture of the parking lot area so we know where we're at? Whatever the thing is, you're an A1 or A2 or whatever.
Right.
She's like, no, I'll remember. I'm like, okay. As she turns her back, I take a picture real quick. All right, good. I got the picture because I know something's going to happen. Something's going to go wrong. So we land, and to get to the parking lot, the long-term parking lot, you have to get in on trams. Okay, anyone who's been in an airport before is familiar that the trams, will take you where you need to go. They had markers on the sidewalk outside. It's a fucking clusterfuck out there. These are for hotels. These are for short-term parking. These are for express parking. This is for deck accessibility. This is long-term 1, long-term 2. She's like, oh, we're in long-term 1 parking. I said, okay. So we get on the tram to go to long-term parking 1. It's probably maybe less than a mile to get to the parking lot. And as we're going through it, she's like, oh, shit. I go, what? She's like, we're in long-term parking. Yeah, we're in long-term parking 2. I said, okay, what do we do? Well, we're just going to have to ride this until we get back to the back because, it's just a loop. It just runs around in a circle. So it goes to A, and then it goes to B, and then it goes to C, and then it goes to D. You see where I'm going with this? It drives, 40 feet and stops. Drives 40 feet and stops. So I think the cutoff on that was J, the letter J. And then they get back on the highway and they drive back to the terminal, and then they pick up more people. So we get off.
Right.
And as soon as
repeat the process.
What's that?
Repeat the process.
Exactly. So she's like, we're looking for long-term 2. I said, okay. And I'm trying to get the luggage off, and people are pushing and getting in your way, and you're getting in their way. She's like, oh, here's the next bus. Let's get on that one. It's long-term 2. I said, okay. So we get on that one, and we're driving, or they're driving. We're sitting in the back. And the way it's set up, if you're watching this on the YouTube video, you've got the 3 lanes of highway. You got the center lane, you got the right lane, you got the left lane. Long-term parking goes this way. Long-term parking 1 goes this way. Long-term parking 2 goes this way. We're in the center lane. The bus does this. Over to the long-term parking 1. She's like, excuse me, what bus is this? And driver goes, long-term parking 1. She's like, God damn it. We had to go A, stop, let everyone out, let everyone, B, stop. She's like, holy, we landed at 3:30, got out of the airport at 5:45. 5:45, we got out of the, because we had to go around and stop and go. Finally, we get off, and she's like, before we get on the next bus, we're asking the bus, no matter what it says on the front, we're asking the bus, what is this terminal long-term parking 2 or whatever? Yes. All right. So we get on, and the whole entire time, she's, putting her head in her hands. I know what's going through her mind. She's like, you must think I'm a fucking idiot. I sit here.
She failed.
Huh?
She's going through her head that she failed.
Yes, exactly. And she's looking at me. I said, babe, it's fine. Everything's fine. But she's like, in her mind, I can see the wheels turn. I deal with, multi-level people and responsibilities. I'm in charge of all this other stuff, and I can't find my way out of a fucking airport parking lot. I'm like, babe, sometimes.
At any point, did she ask you for the picture?
No, but what I did was when we were on the long-term parking too, I said, do you know where we're at? She's like, yeah, we're in S. I said, okay, do you know what row of S? She's like, yeah, there's only like 6 rows of S. So I pull up the camera. I go, we're in S17. Okay. She's like, when did you take that? I said, when we got on, before we even left, I took this picture. Shut up. And then now she's trying to hurry to get home. It's an hour drive from there. She's beating on the things, everything like that. So that was our response coming back from Long Island. I feel bad because you try to be the best guy. You try to not get mad because it's not her fault. I would have done the same thing because I'm a sheep following her.
Well, yeah, I mean, she wanted to take charge like she normally does, but you had it in the background doing it. But I've always learned, especially flying out to Charlotte, Douglas, or any of those places like that, snap a picture, because I've been gone like 3 or 4 days, and I'm like, oh, I got this. My memory used to be sharp as a tack, and now it's dull as a tic tac, right?
Exactly.
And so I'll pull this thing out. I'll be like, okay, here's where I need to go. And stuff. There's nothing wrong with that. And then riding those buses are terrible. It's like, and then they let you off like 3 or 4 parking lots away or something. Then you got to walk down, or,
drag your shit. Yeah.
Yeah. You're dragging all your luggage. You're exhausted. You can't figure out what's going on. You're pissed off at your husband, or wife, or whatever it is. Yeah, it's just terrible.
I know. I will say I was proud that the whole entire time my wife brought her laptop up to Long Island because she was like, I'm afraid I'm going to have to do some work or answer emails and stuff. The whole entire time we were there, didn't look at the internet, didn't look at anything. I mean, checked our like emails and stuff, make sure my dad's okay. I check all the cameras and stuff. I've got warning sensors on our cameras, like there's a motion here, there's a motion here, and all that stuff. But yeah, did not get on the internet whatsoever.
Well, yeah, you got all those warnings because you're wondering if somebody's going to come up and steal your eggs.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, there's nothing left on the internet anyway.
Why do you say that?
I've been surfing the internet since the early 90s and stuff. It used to be like the Wild West, you find whatever. And now, after 30 some years of doing this, there's nothing left. There's nothing new on there. And do you ever buy like some of those premium channels on your dish or cable or whatever it is, and then like the 300 or 400 of them, you get 300 or 400 channels, and then like 250 of them are Spanish or Latino
channels that have you have no interest. Yeah, you have no interest in them.
Yeah, and you're like, what is this? And then you keep going surfing. You're like, oh, I see this. To me, there was an old commercial years ago. I wish I could find it. And this dude is surfing. He goes, and he says, You became to the end.
Yeah, this is the end.
This is the end.
Oh,
There's nothing left. I had nothing left on the internet at all. Now I don't know. That's
when you say there's nothing left, it's no new. Like, who's the guy that said there's no new ideas, just reversions of old ideas?
Well, yes, and history repeats itself, and they keep going over and over and over stuff, and I'm like, oh, this is they look 30 years younger than me, but they're doing the same thing that I saw 40 years ago on the Cosby Show, or something like that.
Well, it's just like I said, the stories of the grandfather walking, to school in the snow. Those stories are going to go away, and they're going to be replaced with new stories. Yeah. I read an article the other day saying that if you're watching a movie and you constantly grab your phone, in a slow part of the movie to scroll through your phone, that's actually, studies have shown that actually makes your IQ lower because you cannot focus. There's no attention span. You're literally going from, I'm watching this movie to my phone to see what's going on and then back to the movie. I do it all the time, but I do it for work purposes. I'm looking for updates and stuff.
And we do it all the time. And my kids get aggravated at me because I tell everybody, I said, you got, my kids, or I say, your attention span's about the size of a gnat ball. Do you know what a gnat is?
Well, I've never seen one up close, but
yeah. Those little fruit flies or whatever you want to call it, but there is nothing on, dude. And then if you watch it, like we were talking about earlier, it's 15 seconds here, 10 seconds there, and then you're off to the next one, and then your attention span just gets recirculated and it does something to your mind. But yeah, there is nothing left on the internet that is, I think it's reached its end. I'm not saying it's going to end. I'm just saying I think it's ended.
So what you're saying is you've seen it all, you've done it all.
Oh,
but
that is a loaded question.
But have you seen the dark web?
No, but I don't think I want to.
I know there's ways to get in there, but I don't know. Dark web is.
Yeah, the onion browser and all of this, and then, but no, I'm look. I just think somebody somewhere sometimes needs to pick up a book, read a book, do something.
I would read a book, but 2 pages, I would go to sleep. I don't know what it is. When I read a book, 2 pages, I'm knocked out. I can't read a book. It'd take me 4 years to read a book.
Exactly. And, I do some of my side gigs. I do ebooks and stuff and do the narration and stuff. And I listen to them and go to sleep, but I'm like, I'd still like to read the book. I like to feel that paper and do stuff.
Oh, I'm sorry, Matt. You put me to sleep there.
Wake up. Wake up.
So when we got back from New York, something happened to my wife, and it's turned the household upside down a little bit. And so I'll talk about that when we get back. So stick around.
Yeah, I can't believe people don't read books anymore. We still buy books. And you can go to, here I go again, but you can go to the Dollar General or Dollar Tree or whatever and buy dollar books. Look at you laughing.
My dad wrote 2 books. They're on Amazon right now.
Who was that?
My dad.
Your dad?
My dad, yeah. My dad wrote. Wow. Yeah, he wrote 2 books. They're only. Wow. I think they were like. Are they books? I think they're like 150 pages. So is that a book or a short story?
That could be either or.
Yeah, it's right on the cusp of. Yeah, he wrote 2 books or 2 books, yeah. 2 short stories, whatever. And it's funny when we were clearing up my mom and dad's house after my mom passed. He had this whole big old manila 9x11 manila envelope, and he handed it to me. And I go, what's this? He goes, if someone ever wants to buy the rights to the book, this is all the trademark and copyright stuff for those books. Wow. Yeah. So it's never going to happen.
Yeah. You should have it. I've got stuff from my grandpa. I've got his written accounts from World War II, Battle of the Bulge, his handwritten journals that he has kept, and I have copies of those, and I actually have the original. And then, yeah. Now you need to keep that because we're going to lose everything.
Yeah,
because there's nothing left on the internet,
and they're not traveling in the snow anymore.
Dude, no. I mean, you can do all you got to do is just pull up Google and say AI, say this or whatever, and say it in the voice of Morgan Freeman, and it comes on and says,
"No, that's the premium price stuff."
You know that the lion wanted to attack Travis because he's drinking.
Nailed it. I close my eyes. You sound just like him.
Anyway.
All right, here we go. You ready?
Yep.
So back to me again.
It's all about you, brother.
It's all about. Well, I mean, I'm the one who just came back from New York, and it's one of those observation where you just kind of observe and stuff. You know, Gary Seinfeld, Jerry Seinfeld. That's his whole shtick is observing and stuff.
Right.
Before we went, my wife said this is back in November when we were talking about going. She said that her uncle and aunt had COVID. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm sorry to hear that, because they're older, I think they're 67 and 69 years old. And, but they're older. And when you get sick, no matter what it is, whether it be a cold or flu or something like that, you worry about people at that age. So, we went up there in January last week. And, all the COVID and everything was done with them. It only lasts, a couple weeks, they say? They said they were fine and whatnot. So we flew up there, saw all the family members and stuff, and then took a flight back. We flew back on Monday and drove around the terminal 15 times trying to find our car, got in the car, and then drove home. So now, here it is Friday. Tuesday, my wife was like going, I'm not doing good. I feel sluggish. I'm like, all right. Wednesday, she gets up early in the morning, goes and rides her horse at like 7:30 in the morning in 23-degree weather. And then she comes home and then works from home. And then Thursday, she went to the office. She drove into the office. Again, waking up at 6:30 in the morning to be at her desk by 8 o'clock in the morning. Women get ready and stuff. It takes a little bit, and it's an hour drive to get to Charlotte from us. She came home early. She said, I'm not feeling well. I'm like, I'm sore. I'm achy. I'll be home about 4 o'clock. And she texted this about 10 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, okay. 12 o'clock rolls around. She's like, I'm coming home after this last call. And this is, I'll be home at 1 o'clock. I'm like, all right. So she comes in. And she's achy. She's not feeling right. She's not really congested. She's not sneezing or anything like that. She's like, I think I got COVID. Now, she's had the shot. She had the shot. She's got the booster. My dad's got the shot because he lives with us now. He's 77 years old. She's worried about him and on down the line. So my dad, when he first moved in, about 6 months after moving in, he got some tests. They're free from Atrium here in North Carolina. They're free. Mm-hmm. So it's the lollipop thing where you take the swab and you kind of just wipe it around your nose. You put the 5 or 6 drops in the. Have you ever taken the at-home COVID test?
I have never taken a COVID test in my life.
All right, so let me explain. Have you got the shot or anything?
No.
Okay, neither have I. I don't have it either. I'm not around enough people to do that. Plus, I think it's a scam. Anyways, so there's a pack in there. If you're watching this on the YouTube video, it's about this big around, and it's an envelope, and you can open it up. You put 5 drops on the top dot, and then you take the swab, the Q-tip, rub it in your nose, and you stick it in there, and you close it, and you seal it. It's like a double-sided tape, 3M double-sided tape, closes it up. So it looks like a lollipop.
Okay.
And there's a blue bar on there, like a pregnancy test that says control. So if that blue bar is blue, that's the control. Underneath that, it says whether it's a hard pink line or a faint pink line, it's still a positive result. Give it 15 minutes and so on and so forth. So I go away, I'm doing some stuff here in the studio, and 15 minutes, not even 15 minutes. She texted me, there's a line there. I'm like, okay, we'll give it some time. Maybe it'll go away. You know, sure enough.
Like a pregnancy.
You're right, exactly. Maybe you're not really pregnant.
Yeah.
It read that she has COVID. Now, she's like, okay, now I have to go sleep in I have to sleep on the west side of the house, which we have a split floor plan. So I have to sleep in that bedroom now, which I didn't like doing. I'm like, babe, come on. There's no way you have COVID. You don't look like you have COVID. I'm achy and all that stuff. All right, fine. She's like, but I'm worried about your dad. I'm like, so dad, Amy thinks she has COVID. Stay away from her, which is no problem because, like I said, it's a split floor plan. So he can be in the kitchen and then go to his room, and she can come out of the bedroom and so on and so forth. She's like, are you going to take the test? I'm like, no, babe, I'm fine. She's like, well, you're going to get it. You're going to get it. No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
No.
But I'm not telling her this, but I'm telling you this and all our listeners out there and everything. I've got congestion here. I've got, runny nose. I'm a little achy, but here's the thing. You ever seen those vampire movies where you've got the hero of the movie and then you got the secondary heroes of the movie, and then one of them gets bit by the vampire, but doesn't want to show everyone that they got bit by the vampire because they don't want to be ostracized from the group that's leading the charge. That's the way I am right now. I'm like walking around going, she's like, are you coughing? No, I swallowed something wrong, babe. I'm fine. And then she's like, why are you congested, babe? I slept underneath the ceiling fan that was on, that type of stuff. So I'm trying to avoid getting the
make up all these excuses.
Yes, exactly. And I'm fine for the most part. I say for the most part, knock on wood. I could be dead tomorrow, but still. I don't know. I'm playing that role right now, so I just thought it was kind of.
Well, first of all, you're a man, so you can never admit that you're sick, right? And then while you were explaining this, I was thinking about going back to your elbow. I think whenever you hit your elbow and you have that bump on there,
yeah,
I think that elbow bump, I can still see it there. I think that elbow bump caused your COVID. I think that's exactly what happened.
I don't know. I think this is a calcium deposit of some sort.
Or you could just be a whiny ass. Who knows?
Well, my wife said, she's like, it was the flight coming home. I said, oh, really? The flight coming home? She's like, yeah, because we flew home on Monday. And it takes, 4 or 5 days to mastersize. Yeah. And I think that's the word. I might be using that wrong. I said, but babe, don't forget, you were dealing with the two cousins that had, girls and with the club foot and the 2 boys, and you were like running around and playing kids game with them, as a good quote unquote aunt would do. Yeah. And you're I'm the monster, and you're picking up I said, you probably got some kid snot on you somewhere playing with these kids, and kids are the worst thing. What now? You're in a school. What grade do you have to deal with?
Pre-K through 12th grade, and it is like a bacteria dish.
Exactly.
It's. I have never been more sick in my life. And I've worked in schools, but I took like a 20-year break. And when I came back after 20-some years and I started working again, I have been out more sick than I've ever even thought about.
When you say 20-year break, are you talking about I served time in prison?
Yeah. And so I'll call the VA and they're like, you need to come in for test because you're no, I'm good. But I think some of the problem that your wife might be experiencing, and you too, is just exhaustion from traveling.
I will agree with that because I slept like shit. They had a king size bed, and the bed, if you're watching this here on the video, it had a solid center, but both sides kind of did this on the side. So I constantly felt like I was going to roll out of the bed, and I slept like shit and so on and so forth.
And there's never enough comforters or blankets. There's the pillows are not right.
Exactly.
The humidity is not right. I've had a sore throat for all these things. This is the reason I can't wait. There's all these things, but there's nothing like home, just like Dorothy used to say.
Well,
nothing like home.
But also think about this. She's been working from home here, for the last 3 or 4 years. And now we decided to go on this trip. So now we haven't gone on a flight or anything like that. Well, she has one time and came right back, but we went on a flight to New York to see these kids, these snotty nosed kids. And she's been rolling around with them and stuff and then flying back. Our immunity has not been exposed to these quote unquote new germs that are out there. I mean, even as small and minute and how minor they are. But there are no new germs. I mean, there may be or whatever derivatives of new. Well, she's getting kid germs on her, and that's what's making her sick.
Yeah. And the thing is that too. How did she grow up? As far as like being, did her parents protect her from all that stuff? It's like me. I grew up like digging in the mud, staying outside in the dirt.
She deals with horses and horse shit all the time.
I mean, there's a lot of factors there. Now, she might have a weaker immune system or something like that.
So here's my question. So if she has just like a normal flu, and the flu, technically COVID is a flu. I know I'm going to get a whole bunch of emails from this. So,
yeah. We're going to get the haters.
So isn't a certain strain of a flu, wouldn't that show up as a positive result? Because technically COVID is a viral type thing. And so it's, I don't want to say it's a false reading, but it's reading something that's not quote unquote by definition COVID.
So if you go back to that, and again, you're going to get, I hope they have your email, not mine, and your name and address, right? So if you go back and look at COVID has been around for years and years and years. That's the reason if you look on Lysol bottles or cans, it says, we'll kill COVID. COVID is a cold. There's variants of
viral cold.
Yes. There's just variants of that, just like any virus.
My dad said to me, he goes, we were sitting on the back porch, of course, drinking beer. And he's like, have you gotten a flu shot? I said, Dad, I've never gotten a flu shot. He goes, well, you need to start thinking about it. I said, Dad, I don't know what it is. You ever seen that movie Unbreakable with Bruce Willis and Samuel L. Jackson?
Oh, yes.
So one of the questions that they asked Bruce Willis was, when's the last time you were sick? He goes, I can't remember the last time I was sick. I can't remember. I said, Dad, we've been living in this house for over 10 years. I can count on one hand how many times I've physically been laying in bed and been sick. Now I'll get a sniffle or two. I'll have like a sore throat or running, but nothing to knock me out like a COVID type thing. He goes, well, you need to think about getting a flu shot. I go, no, I'm not. He goes, I didn't start getting flu shots until like 10 years ago. I'm like, whatever, Dad.
Yeah. So it's crazy is because I'm like you. I think looking back, I think 1985, 1986 was the last time I had a temperature of like 103 or something. I guess I had the flu or something. I don't know what it is. But then when I went into the military, they required you, even this is way before COVID, they required you to get a flu shot, right? If you refused to get the flu shot, they were going to give you an Article 15, kick you out of the military, just like they're doing now with the COVID thing. But luckily, I made friends with the medic, and then they would just write my name down, and I refused to get the flu shots.
So, being in the position that you are at the school that you work for now, it's a private school. How come have they come to you and said, "Hey, you need to show me your vaccination card"? I mean, why they have not done anything like that as far as like mandatory type deal?
No, and you just said it. They are not state funded. They are not federally funded. They are paid by
individual investors. Yeah.
Yeah. And, we have some David Keith or something like that. The dude that was from Officer and the Gentleman, his son goes there. We have a lot of different people, but there's different things that if you don't take all these funds, you don't have to go through all these requirements.
Yeah, but
And
just
they don't really,
but just like the head principal going, all right, I'm going to make it mandatory. You're dealing with kids. You are adults. Here, you need to do A, B, and C before you can come back to work. No, nothing, huh?
Not even during the. I wasn't there, but I talked to people that was
Because you were in jail.
During the height of COVID, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they never even asked them to take anything, and they weren't required to.
Mm.
And so I don't know. That's the difference between private and private funds and federal funds or state funds or whatever you're doing. I don't know.
Have you you ever been really embarrassed in public but did not know it until you got home?
Yes, but I can't. How do I count thy ways?
Yeah. All right. Well, when we come back, I'll dive into my wife. My wife didn't notice something all day long. She was out with me, and I rely on her to take care of me as far as looking prim and proper. But she totally failed, and I'll dive in that story when we come back. So stick around. We'll be right back.
So many times I've been embarrassed in public. I didn't know. So many times. I'm gonna tell you some of the most is that when you get the ass sweats, you're wearing like a white jeans or something.
Your wife's jeans?
No, not my wife jeans. My white jeans or jean shorts or whatever it is. You get that little streak.
Ass sweat.
Yeah, ass sweat. That's what I was trying to say. Right? Get the ass sweat. I have a special set of skills.
We were having lunch at a place called Port Jefferson, which is on the outskirts of Long Island. And I didn't realize how close Long Island was to Connecticut because there's a ferry that comes over whatever river that is, that little inlet if you look at Long Island. And people were coming over, like putting their cars on the ferry, one of those car ferry things, and they drive off and then they drive through Long Island. I thought that was kind of neat. We watched them. Sat there I didn't have, well, I'll get into that story here when we get back. Oh, those stairs. I feel that 17 pounds. Holy fuck.
The story you're getting ready to tell is about putting cars on a boat / ferry.
Mm-hmm.
That's a hold my beer story.
All right, here we go. Ready?
Yeah, let's go.
Oh, those stairs, man, they're getting me. Get me every time. I can feel that 17 pounds getting on my around my waist. I was putting on my pants this morning to go grocery shopping. Mm-hmm. And I tighten my belt up and I go, ow. My wife goes, what'd you do? I said, a piece of my belly fat got in the belt and I pinched it. How embarrassing is that? Jesus Christ. You talk about getting your nuts caught in the zipper. This is just as bad. I was pulling the belt tight and I go, ow. What happened? I pinched my belly fat in the belt.
You know what we would call that back in the mountains or growing up? You've got the Dunlap disease.
The Dicky Do.
No, the Dunlap. Do you know what Dunlap is?
It's a car tire.
No, it means that, son, your belly done lapped over your back.
Well, that's what Dicky Do. What is that?
Oh, okay. I have no idea.
Dicky Do? What do you call it a Dicky Do? Because your stomach sticks out further than your Dicky Do.
Oh, yeah. One of my favorite Family Guy episodes is whenever Peter loses all that weight and he's in the shower and he goes, oh, there it is.
There's also Cootie Do, too. Belly sticks out further than your Cootie Do.
Yeah. I hadn't seen mine since 1991.
It's still there, I'm sure.
No, I think it's gone.
So when we were in Long Island, we took a trip out to Port Jefferson, which is it's I don't know, it's a port, of course. But I didn't realize how close we were to Connecticut. and people were, it's the ferry that has the cars where you can put your cars on, and, maybe a 40-minute drive, and people take their cars off the ferry. And so we sat at a little bistro or whatever and had lunch there and watching the boats come in and everyone unload and stuff. Matt, the whole entire time I was in Long Island.
Oh my God.
I didn't have one drop of alcohol.
One drop.
Nobody in the family, nobody up there drinks. Nobody has like a glass of wine at night. Nobody has any of that stuff. And I didn't want to be that guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I didn't have absolutely no alcohol whatsoever. I want to say that I slept the best of my life, but I didn't. I told you about the bed being all crooked and stuff. But it's just, I don't know. It's weird. As soon as we landed, in Charlotte and figured out how to get out of the airport, we went right to our local saloon here in where we live at.
Sucked it up.
Yeah, we had like 4 or 5 beers between two of us, or 4 or 5 beers each, and sat there and had dinner and stuff. But there's one thing now with my wife going to work now. Like I said, she works from home, so I have the rules are in the house. No matter who you are, you're not allowed to have anything to drink before noon. Okay. So that's our rule here in the house, because we always do the 12 o'clock somewhere, but we do that's our rule here. And you're looking at me like going, I've broken the rule 4 hours ago.
12 o'clock somewhere. Well, okay. Which time zones are you?
We're talking about this time zone right here. Now, I know that as he takes a pull from his chuck wagon there, my dad, I was talking to a guy in Walmart today, and I had, my 3 cases of beer because I don't feel like going out every 5 minutes to replenish my beer stock. This old timer, he's got a Vietnam with the scrambled eggs and stuff on top, and, veteran and stuff. He goes, there's alcohol in those things. And I go, yeah, I know. He goes, alcohol kills your brain cells. He's like, I ain't got many left. That's why I don't drink. And I said, well, thank you for your service, that type deal. And then I said, my dad drank my whole entire life. And I said to him, my mom kept him in check for the most part. My dad would have like 3 or 4 beers, and my mom was like, all right, that's enough. But now that he lives with me, because my mom's not around, 10 o'clock, as soon as he finishes his coffee, has his breakfast, 10 o'clock in the morning, he's out there on the porch. Now, granted, he can't drink like he did, in our age and stuff. He'll have a beer in the morning and stuff. So I just thought it was, our age, yeah.
At our age.
Right, like we're young whippersnappers. But when my wife's home, like I'll start at like 12 o'clock, and I usually cut myself off at 7:30. It's the least I could do, right?
7.5 hours, man. You doing good.
Just keep it constant. Keep my feet on the floor. Keep looking for the stars, right?
Eat some pork rinds. You're doing good. Exactly.
Drink some pickle juice. You're good to go.
Yeah.
But when my wife now is traveling Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, going into the office, I have to cut that off a little sooner, because at 6 o'clock, I've got responsibilities now on the property that she would normally handle when I'm not around, or when
you're not drunk.
Yeah, basically, because I'm just trying to put a lighter way to make myself in a better light. But I have to go feed the horses. I've got to do all this stuff. I got to make sure I got responsibilities, I guess is what I'm saying. On Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, I've got responsibilities. So I kind of cut myself off at 6 o'clock so I can get all that work done, and then make dinner and make sure she has dinner when she comes home and stuff. I'm such a good little husband. Husband.
Yes. You've been trained well.
But yeah, I mean, and then daylight savings time screws me up completely. I feel like if it's still light out, I can drink. So.
Oh, do you get seasonal disorder like with the alcohol?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, that would be. Yeah, as soon as that daylight saving time comes around, it's like 5 o'clock. I'm like going, I feel bad drinking this late.
Yeah, no, it's 8:30. No, baby, it's 4:45. No,
Yeah, I'm hammered.
I'm good.
So I don't know. Do you have
Your eyes are
like on your yeah, exactly? You're watching Matt on the video. That's a good picture. You literally look drunk. Drunker. Do you have a do you go by a set of rules? Because I've always said I make a joke about this, but I'm kind of being serious at the same time, where I am a professional. Like, I know if I start at 12, I've got to be done by this point at this point. Do you have any kind of like boundaries or whatever that you follow as far as I don't want to say drinking habits, but as far as like you indulging?
Well, yeah, I do. So if I'm working, like at my regular job, I never ever drink during the day. Like, and that goes from like from the time I get up.
So
Do what?
I would hope so.
Yeah,
I'm working.
So, yeah, I'm working, day and night. Yeah, so that's been one of my things is I never. And now, when I say that though, I've got a buddy that he used to drink, and he was a professional, and he brought vodka in his water bottle, or and he was drinking, taking sips of that every day, and I was like, no, I'll never do that. But yeah, so my boundaries are I never ever drink if it's during the work week at all, unless it's after I get off, and then
do you grab a roadie on the way home?
No, I don't do anything.
See, I used to do that. I used to do that all the time. When I got off, when I was working for, the establishment, I would not do anything. And as soon as I knew exactly what store I was going to, I'd grab a couple roadies right there because I knew it was an hour ride home. And
well, yeah. So I have to amend that statement. Going back to what you just said, is that it depends on the commute.
Yeah.
So right now, my commute is about 10 minutes, 15 minutes at the most. And then it's been that way for the last 3 or 4 years. But if it's an hour or so, which I had done for years, yeah, I'll grab a roadie or something and do that. But yeah, so that's my thing is never during work or doing anything like that. Now, weekends are off limits, right? So I'll get up and I drink coffee until about 9.
They're not off limits. It's open door season.
I guess it all depends on which way that you want to interpret that, right?
I guess so, yeah.
Oh goodness gracious, Lord have mercy! What have you done to me right now? I don't even know what I'm talking about.
Sorry.
Now you're exposing me.
Nah, that's all right. As long as your wife doesn't listen, you're okay.
But no, I expose myself all the time to the neighbors. That's the reason we've got kicked out of the last.
That's why they're shoveling outside your window. They're trying to cover it up.
Yeah. They put all the snow in front of our door so I can't get out. So
while we were up in Long Island, we were watching. They have something called like 24-hour news, and it's the local broadcast and stuff. Here in North Carolina, we have Spectrum, and they have that one channel where it's the same news hour after hour after. It's just 24 hours, and it's not a like CNN or ABC or anything like that. It's basically part of your like subscription, whatever your cable subscription is. Down in Florida, we had Bright House, and it was the same thing with Channel 13, and they would just have the the same news hour after hour after hour and stuff like that. When we were in New York, they had, I forget what it is, Channel 12 or something like that. And we were watching like the Weathermen, and some of the Weathermen were like washed up. Like they used to be on like big affiliate shows or big affiliate stations. And now they're like a substitute teacher. And this is what they do as a part-time job, doing the weather and stuff. So.
Yeah, so here in East Tennessee, we've got this local news channel, right? So we just moved here from Nashville, and I have been watching it, and there are these two guys. What the first guy's name is Ronaldo or whatever it is, and the other guy is Devon. Now, if you could imagine Todd Chrisley, both of these guys getting together they get together and do this super flamboyant superpowers when they get together. And I have never seen, it's like watching like a Netflix episode between these two, because the lisps are flying like crazy. It's like, oh my God, oh this, and oh.
I don't understand the fuss just because of a couple more S's.
It is. And then, during Christmas, whenever they were doing all the decorations and stuff, one of them, we got tickled. Ronaldo said, yes. Oh, Santa's coming. We can't all wait for the big man to come. And I was like, what? What are you, and then
cameraman's looking around the thing going, did he really say that? Can we go with that?
Yeah. And then he says, let's throw it over to Tavon for weather. And Tavon goes, oh my God, it's going to be so slippery and wet out there.
It's going to be raining men. Hallelujah. It's raining men.
Woo,
yay,
yeah.
men.
These guys are crazy. So I've got where I've set my DVR to where we record them, and this is what we watch.
Now hold on, Matt. Hold on.
What?
The news people are supposed to be a reflective of their area listening or watching viewing audience. So what you're saying is you got a whole bunch of Todd Chrisley. My wife loves that show, by the way.
I do too.
Well, see, now we're diving in deeper. I think you're making a point for my method here, that there are, maybe you have a lot of Todd Chrisleys out there doing the weather in your neighborhood.
Well, I don't know. They may be doing the weather. I don't know. I don't know how he's doing in prison right now.
Well, not Todd Chrisley, but yeah. That's your clientele. That's the neighborhood. That's the,
you know, it might be dark and gloomy there for him. I don't know, but these guys are just crazy. And so I moved down here in July, and my first experience with this one guy, the weather guy, he's talking about all these fountains. You know, it's hot. It's like 95 degrees or whatever. And it's downtown, near, I say, Knoxville. And he's doing like this, showing the fountains off. And then all of a sudden he pulls his shirt off. And he goes, I'm going to go through the fountains. And he's okay, right? Until they get together.
This is local TV, right?
Yeah, local TV,
okay.
Right? And then all of a sudden he goes through the fountains. And next thing you hear is, woo, 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 while he's running through the fountains. And I'm like, oh my God.
I think I got my sound clip for the end of the show on that one.
Yeah. Woo! Woo!
Well, speaking of one more little thing, we'll wrap up the show here.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of woo. So being that I've gained 17 pounds, and my normal diet in the morning is I have hard-boiled eggs. I have 3 hard-boiled eggs, and the russet potatoes, I can have, like, we put them in the air fryer. And we fry, air fry. It's supposed to be good for you. Mm-hmm. And because it's a non-complex carbohydrate, you're allowed to have this on the Whole30 diet. Mm-hmm. So one thing that I've tried to teach myself, I love ketchup and I love mustard. And, you know, I love going to Burger King. I don't know, you guys have Burger Kings where you're at and stuff?
Oh, yeah, we've got all kinds.
Yeah, anytime I get a hamburger from Burger King, it's like, 14 ounces of ketchup, 14 ounces of mustard, and then I'm dipping the hamburger in it, and I'm like going, do I need the hamburger? Am I really just, is this just an avenue for me to eat the ketchup and the mustard? And of course, ketchup, I don't know if you know this or not, is so full of sugar, so full of, just god-awful stuff. Yeah. And you're like, well, it's tomatoes smashed up. Yeah, but that's not, there's a little bit more in there. But mustard itself is calorie-free. It's just vinegar, mustard seed, and whatever, like, just to keep it fresh, that type of stuff. Mm-hmm. So I've trained myself on this new diet to only have mustard on things that I would normally put ketchup on. So when we were in Long Island, we went out to breakfast the other day, and everyone's getting ketchup and putting syrup, sugar-free syrup on their goddamn pancakes and stuff. And I asked the waitress, I said, can I have, a cup or whatever of mustard? Everyone at the table looked at me, and I go, well... And I had to do the same spiel that I did just now. And they're like, oh, that makes sense. So I'm dipping everything in my mustard. So eating hard-boiled eggs. Got a hard-boiled egg in my hand if you're watching this on the video here. I dip it in the mustard, and then I take a bite. Dip it in the mustard and take a bite. And then, the egg gets smaller, my fingers get in the mustard, and so on and so forth. I have a bad habit, I'm sure just like anyone else, of doing this. Okay? And if you're watching this on the video, I'm stretching and rubbing the back of my head.
Yeah.
So I had breakfast in the morning, and my wife and I were going to go around town or something here in the local area. And, we had to return. It was just after Christmas, so I'm returning, going to the Amazon or UPS to ship all the stuff back to Amazon that didn't fit or wasn't right or whatever.
All the Christmas stuff.
Yeah, the Christmas stuff. And I told you that, everything she got me, it failed. Yeah. So I'm sitting in line or standing in line. And the lines, of course, just after Christmas, there's 15 people deep. And I drop the package off. And then we go somewhere else and we drop this off at FedEx. And we go out for dinner or go out for lunch. And we have some drinks and we, whatever the case may be. Then we get home and I'm taking, my jacket off and stuff. And she's like, come here. I go, what? She goes, turn around. I go, what? She's like, she's pulling at my hair. I go, what are you doing? She's like, you had mustard fingerprints all on the back of your head. I'm like going, from breakfast, mind you. From breakfast. Yeah. I said, so I was riding around all day long, standing in lines. Were you not paying attention to your husband? Were you not trying to make sure that I'm not, I'm representing us as a couple, as, good human beings? She's like, I didn't even see it. I go, obviously, babe, you don't pay attention to me. You don't even care. I just was like, I started grabbing mustard and slapping it on my face. No, I didn't do that. But I'm just like, I didn't see it. She's like, oh my God, you were around with me all day with mustard in the back of your hair? I go, was it a lot or a little bit? She's like, oh no, it was a lot. She's looking at me like, it was a lot of mustard in your hair.
Yeah. So I get all that stuff too on me. Like whenever I'm eating or doing anything, it doesn't matter if I'm in a restaurant or at home. And I've had to change clothes 3 times because I've got mustard. Hey, that's just the way it is. Don't look at me like that. No. That's just the way it is. But no, I do that. So I can't imagine getting it in my hair because I don't have any hair.
You're a little lackadaisical on the hair.
I'm follically challenged.
Well, at least you don't get caught in your beard.
Do what?
At least it's not caught in your beard or whatever.
Well, sometimes it does get caught in my beard. But I identify as a hair banger.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Define that for me.
I got long hair and I can sing super high like a woman.
Okay.
I don't know. How do I identify that?
I don't know. All right, Matt, where can everyone find you?
Well, I'm at Murder and Coffee, YouTube, and also on all of your favorite streaming platforms, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Just search for Murder and Coffee Podcast, True Crime Podcast. We have about 22 episodes right now, and we're blazing it up.
And you got something new going on over at YouTube, don't you?
Yeah, we are doing some different things, doing Murder and Coffee Live, actually. And hopefully one day you might be able to join me with that. But yeah. So we have our first one out, and it's kind of more lighthearted than the kind of darker stuff than I do.
Well, good. Yeah. Now that I'm back in town, you said you wanted to get together and do that. So I'm looking forward to doing that.
Well, I'm glad you're back in town, and I'm glad that you are below the Mason-Dixon line now.
As they say. So I'm hoping that, my vampire teeth don't stick out and I start craving blood in the middle of the night.
And I hope your wife feels better from her COVID.
Yeah, she'll be fine.
Yeah,
Should
and
be
I hope you are able to wash the mustard out of your hair. Because I can still see a little bit of it back there.
I literally, because of that, I literally like look at my fingernails now, and before I do this, which is kind of gross in itself. All right, guys. All right, Matt. Thank you. Thank you.
Hold my beer.
Go ahead.
Hold my beer. Hold my beer.
All right, Matt. We'll talk to you later.
Was that okay? Or at some points I thought that you got a little touchy or something.
No. Everything was fine.